Because of its huge success in London, where it opened in 1978, Evita by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice was a pre-sold hit in New York in 1979. Able to surmount a mixed critical reception, it remained on Broadway for 3 years and 9 months. Patti LuPone created the role of Evita in New York.
It was a remounting of an already successful production from London.
So it was pretty clear.
And yes, it's funny, and the press said that we changed quite a bit to accommodate American audiences, and actually nothing was changed except for a lyric in Buenos Aires that was, "Who could ever be fond of the back of beyond?" We changed it to, "Who could ever get kicks from the back of the sticks? Who could ever get kicks in the back of the sticks?" But according to the press, much was changed. I think it was simply a difference of actors, a difference, in actors interpreting the parts. But Hal did not change anything. We remounted an already successful production. Nothing was changed.
When Evita came along, by that time I myself was moving along musically, and I'm beginning to find my own voice far more. And we were very lucky, of course, that in that particular case, the actual production by Harold Prince was as close to what one could possibly have wanted from it as could have been. I mean, the economy of the production, even though it looked, of course, absolutely wonderful in its way, he did a wonderful expression of what the score is all about. It was a problematical piece in one sense, because as the political nature of the piece is important, and what we were writing in one sense was possibly best seen from England at the time. It was very hard, I think, for people in America to see at the time. It was a cautionary tale about how extremist movements and extremist elements in a society can grab hold of that society. And you have to understand that in England at that time, we were at a time when there was very serious talk that we could see a revolution. The power of the trades unions had been shown in England to be such that the miners had been able to bring down an elected government, and it was at a time when things were looking black indeed back home, and there was a lot of talk of sort of private armies. Of course, a lot of this has come out now much more recently, hasn't it, with some of the books and revelations about what was in fact going on within MI5 and everything at the time. But people were really quite seriously scared of an extremist takeover within Britain, and I think one sort of forgets that that now, although I don't think Tim and I thought of that overtly when we were writing it, I think undoubtedly we were influenced by it, and that's what drew us to the story.
The subject matter was the biggest complaint.
Really?
Yes. Nobody even applauded Hal's innovation in staging this. They just said, "How dare you put Evita Perón on the stage?"
Well, I think they didn't miss entirely the point. I mean, one of the nastiest pieces written about Evita was run, which completely misunderstood the point of it, in the New York magazine, and said it was a disgrace that so many Jewish people were working on a piece of this kind. I mean, what in actual fact Evita was about the danger that can happen when you get an extremist, and a very attractive extremist at that, manipulating through the power of the trades unions ordinary people.
Evita was among the first, if not the first, operatic spectacle. Hal did a absolutely magnificently brilliant job of staging it. The music also. There's only one passage of spoken word which Mandy as Che had at the end of the show, describing when Evita died. Her body was shipped off to 5 different parts of the world.
Evita has the first real through-written scene that I wrote as a theatrical piece. There's the last 15 minutes with Perón and Eva in the bedroom. That's probably the first really through-written, purely written for the theatre scene that I'm quite pleased with.
It's too much of an exciting theatrical event. Her life was a piece of theatre.